Let's talk about dealing with anti patterns. There are different ways to look at the anti patterns. In their book, Anti Patterns Refactoring Software, Architectures and Projects in Crisis, authored by William Brown, Raphael Melville, Skip McCormick, and Tom Morby, they have mentioned that we present anti patterns from three perspectives: developer, architect, and manager. Development anti-patterns comprise technical problems and solutions that are encountered by programmers. Architectural anti-patterns identify and resolve common problems in how systems are structured, and managerial anti-patterns address common problems in software processes and development organizations. These three viewpoints are fundamental to software development, and many problems exist in each. Well, there are other perspectives as well, like the user interface perspective, the organizational perspective, and other broader perspective. Now, the question is, how can we avoid these pitfalls? One must always consider the larger context of the problem. Understanding the problem in its entirety will help in coming with a good solution. Another way to avoid these anti patterns that we have discussed in the previous video is to use proven design patterns and best practices. They are the time tested practices. So, familiarizing yourself with a common design pattern can be helpful. The solutions that have worked well for others with similar problems are a good choice and can save a lot of time. Another way to deal with anti pattern is to break down the large problems into smaller pieces. Doing this can help avoid getting overwhelmed and make it easier to spot issues and inefficiency. And additionally, one can take the help from the more experienced fellow in the team. And it is also important to continuously review your code to ensure the best solution. The more we learn about a problem, the more we will be able to formulate a better solution. And that's the job of a good programmer. So, dealing with anti patterns can be challenging task, but it is an important one to ensure that the code base remains maintainable, is scalable, and efficient. There are certain steps that one can follow to deal with anti patterns in a code base. The first is identify the anti pattern. Identification of the problem is the first step. This can be done through code reviews, automated tools, or manual analysis of the code. After identifying the anti-pattern, you will have to understand the impact of that anti-pattern on your overall system. It's it's like understanding how the anti-pattern affects the code's performance, scalability, maintainability, and overall quality of the system. After understanding that, we will have to develop a plan. Based on the impact of the anti-pattern, a plan can be developed to address that. This can include refactoring the code, removing the redundant or unused code, or introducing new coding practices to avoid the anti pattern in the future. Or this can even just include simply documenting certain best practices that other team members can follow to avoid such kind of anti pattern to occur in the future. Then we'll have to implement the plan. The plan should be implemented in a systematic and controlled manner to minimize the risk of introducing new bugs or issues. Yes, while implementing the plan to deal with the anti patterns, we will have to be cautious about the fact that our plan itself should not become a problem, that it should not introduce new bugs or issues. This may involve breaking the changes into smaller, more manageable pieces and testing each change before moving to the next. And finally, once changes are implemented, the code base should be monitored. We should monitor the code base to ensure that the anti pattern has been effectively addressed. That includes monitoring the performance, conducting code reviews, and using automated testing to identify any new issues that may have been introduced. So, in a nutshell, addressing anti patterns in a code base requires a combination of analysis, planning, implementation, and monitoring. Following these steps, developer can improve the quality, maintainability, reliability, and scalability of their system and avoid common issues that can arise from anti patterns.